It was a warm day in June when 5-year-old Summer Wells vanished from her home in Rogersville, Tennessee. She had spent most of the day with her mom, grandma, and a teenaged family friend, taking grandma to the hospital and running errands in a pickup truck. At one point, they went to a secluded swimming hole to get out of the heat. It seemed like a typical day by most accounts, and after dropping off the teenaged boy at his home, Summer, her mom, and grandma returned to their Rogersville home in the afternoon. Minutes before arriving at their home, an eerie video of 5-year-old Summer leaning against milk jugs in the back seat of her grandma's truck was recorded. Summer's mom claims her daughter was asleep in the video, but there are some people who think Summer was near death in the video based on her unusual appearance. One theory is that Summer suffered from a heat stroke while waiting in the hot truck for her mom and grandma to buy groceries. Another theory is that Summer was the victim of a secondary drowning after she had gone underwater at the swimming hole and the teenager pulled Summer up and out of the water. Summer's mom denies that this is what happened and claims her daughter never went underwater, and Summer was just asleep in the back seat of the truck when they arrived at home.
And with him sitting there saying that she fell on a rock, there's no rock. Where do you see a rock?
Right. Yeah, the only rocks I saw were right over here.
Yeah,
and then up there.
Yeah, they're way over there, and I'm right here.
Okay. So this is where she is, though.
Yeah, this is where she is, right here.
Okay. And how is she? What's her behavior?
She's jumping around, splashing, having a good time,
Summer.
just like Summer would always do.
Okay.
I mean, that's how all my kids are.
Okay.
They just splash around and have a good time.
Does she go underwater at any time that you see?
Oh, she just dips her head in, but sticks it right back up. I mean, it was only up to here at the time.
Where did this idea of under the water, where's that come from? Okay.
That just blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, she didn't even go into, because when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
And I was just taking TikTok video, and he come up out of there somewhere, and I was like, just splashed around, and then he threw up gang signs.
Do you know them?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
And then he started throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, so I moved it back away from him as quick as I could, and I was videoing them flowers, and then back at Summer again real quick. And then he decided to get in the water right there, and he went like this with the water a couple times. I told him, please stop that. She don't like to be splashed.
Okay.
And so he quit and got out. And I said, come on, Summer, we got to go get Grandma's prescription. And we just got back in the truck and left.
Okay.
It would only be a few hours later that Summer was reported missing to the police. Her mom said she had suddenly vanished from their property. There was no indication that she was planning on running off, nor was there any huge incident that day that might have caused her to try and run away from home. So what happened to Summer Wells? Did Summer just wander off into the dense woods surrounding the home? Did someone take Summer from the basement? Or was there an accident of some sort that was covered up? Her mom, Candus, was in charge of watching Summer the day she vanished. Candus admitted she left her 5-year-old daughter unsupervised for a couple of minutes, and during that short amount of time, her daughter vanished. During her first on-camera TV interview, Candus specifically said they were planting flowers, and that Summer wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And she walked her all the way over to the porch and watched her walk into the kitchen where her 3 sons were watching TV. Candus told the boys to watch Summer and that she'd be back within 2 minutes. When Candus came back and asked the boys where their sister was, they said she went downstairs to play with her toys in the basement. On the contrary, the transcript of the call put out by the 911 dispatcher said, the parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, and now they can't find her. They have been yelling for her. She has been gone for about 10 minutes now. So which story is it?
Tonight, the radio scanner traffic from emergency dispatchers the night Summer Wells disappeared. Take a listen.
being around from 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Authorities have stated there is no evidence that 5-year-old Summer was kidnapped or abducted, yet they have not ruled anything out. Everything is possible, including foul play and the possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the woods surrounding her home, despite a large, organized search of 2,400 acres on ground, in the water, and air by 72 professional agencies. People around the world have been closely following this case since the Amber Alert was issued for Summer Wells. These people study the facts, the interviews, and the social media posts over and over again. They go back and forth with the timeline of events for the 15th of June, and some things just don't make sense. A number of people following Summer's case have found discrepancies in her mother's explanation of the events surrounding her daughter's disappearance. People are suspicious of Candus and think she was involved or has knowledge of what happened to Summer. After all, it was Candus that openly stated the timeline from the very beginning.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back, and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone.
During an investigation, police used 3 indicators of suspicion when describing potential suspects. Motive, means, and opportunity. Motive, to commit the crime, for example, for financial gain or to seek revenge. Means to commit the crime, including tools and physical capabilities. An opportunity to commit the crime, including being at the crime scene at the time of the offense. Police also establish the relationships between the victim and any potential suspects. Any potential suspects that present an alibi can be eliminated from suspicion. Summer's mother, Candus, falls into the category of a potential suspect. She was the last adult to have contact with Summer before she disappeared. She is the first and most obvious suspect in her daughter's disappearance. Clearly, she fits the 3 indicators of suspicion: motive, means, and opportunity. Candus had a motive if she was covering up the accidental death of her 5-year-old, 40-pound daughter. On June 15, 2021, Candus also had the means to put her young daughter in 2 unsafe situations that could have caused her daughter harm. One possible situation was that Summer overheated that afternoon, sitting in the back seat of her grandma's truck. During an interview, Candus said that the windows were rolled up and the air conditioning was off. In the last known picture and video of Summer, she is wearing a tracksuit that is zipped all the way up to her chin. The weather was warm that afternoon. The temperature was 81 degrees.
Summer, was she in her bathing suit?
Yes.
And how did she get in her bathing suit? Or...
I actually put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day.
Okay.
So it was just something small and thin, not so hot.
Okay.
Because I know how she gets too hot.
Okay. And what was the temperature that day? Give me an idea.
Probably in the 80s.
Okay. So it's Tennessee warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it is now.
And are you an air-conditioned person, or in your mom's truck was the AC on? Or
I don't like AC.
Okay.
She still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to catch.
As the air temperatures get higher, so does the temperature inside a closed vehicle. When the temperature outside gets to around 80 degrees, that temperature inside the closed vehicle will rise to 99 degrees in 10 minutes, 109 degrees in 20 minutes, 114 degrees in 30 minutes, and 123 degrees in 60 minutes.
She still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to catch. But
Since the start of June, our temperatures have made it into the 70s and the 80s. As the air temperature rises outside, so can the temperature inside a closed car. When the temperature outside gets to around 80 degrees, that temperature inside the closed car after 10 minutes will be in the upper 90s. After 20 minutes, already in the hundreds, and then 30 minutes, about 5 degrees higher than it was at 20. After an hour, we're already at 123 degrees.
I went up Moreland Drive because I had to pick up a few things. I was in the store for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Grabbed the milk and some cheese, and I don't remember what else I bought.
Okay. And that's the food lush?
No,
or
priceless.
Priceless. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left. And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay. Who goes into the store?
Her and her mother again.
Okay, so Candus and her mom go in the store again. And that left you and Summer in the car.
Yeah. I think they was in the store for an hour, maybe.
Okay. They were in the store for a long time?
Yeah, a little bit long, but not that long.
And what did they get?
So they got groceries for the house. I don't know what all they got. All I seen was what was beside of us, the milks.
Okay.
She dropped Hunter off between 2 and 2:30, right where your truck is.
Okay.
But her front end was facing the telephone pole.
So she's going this direction?
Yes.
Okay.
When she dropped Hunter off, it was her mom, Hunter, and Summer. And Summer was leaning against 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
I said, oh, look at her. You know, I asked her how Summer was, and she was sleeping.
What side of the back seat was she at? Do you remember?
Hunter was on the driver's side, and Summer was right there in the middle.
Okay, so it made sense if she's pulling this way that Hunter's going to get out
Yes.
on this side. Okay, it makes sense. Okay. And so she's on the other side or in the middle?
She's in the middle.
Okay.
Like,
against the milk, gallons of milk.
yep, against the 2 gallons of milk.
Okay.
And I said, oh, look at her. I said, isn't she hot? Like, I said, I wish I could wake her up and, give her a hug. No, you can't.
And the windows.
And the windows were up.
What did Hunter say? Because he was sitting next to her.
Hunter said she was alive.
Okay.
That they were watching TikTok videos.
Oh, interesting.
Wait a minute, when they went into the store,
Yep. Because Hunter has a timeline of where they went and what they did. And they had stopped at the store before they dropped Hunter off. That's where the 2 gallons of milk came from.
Okay.
And the groceries.
Okay.
The other possible situation is that little 5-year-old Summer accidentally inhaled water into her lungs at the swimming hole and suffered a secondary drowning on the way home. You probably think of drowning as something that happens when you're submerged in water. That's true in most cases of drowning. But there's another type of drowning, called secondary drowning, that can occur after a drowning close call. It happens when water gets into the lungs, irritates the lungs lining, and causes fluid to build up in the condition called pulmonary edema. A person who experiences a drowning close call can be out of the water and walking around normally before signs of secondary drowning become apparent. You don't have to take in a lot of water for a secondary drowning to occur. People think ingesting more water makes it more dangerous, but that isn't necessarily true. Secondary drowning is relatively rare. Most people who get into a bit of trouble in a swimming pool or get knocked over by a wave in the ocean can jump right back up. The problem is, if secondary drowning goes unrecognized, it can be deadly. That's why it's so important to be observant. The most important thing is to seek medical attention for any significant incidents in the water.
I just seen that she was underwater for like 10, 15 seconds. So I was like, "Are you okay?" And I pulled up. She said, "Yeah, I'm just swimming underwater."
Okay, so you see a point where Summer is underwater.
For like 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, walk me through that.
And so I go in calm as heck because I know she might just be messing around.
Did you think she was injured?
No,
Could she have been?
She could have been. I mean,
Help me understand that.
I mean, she could have been when she got back into the car, like how the water gets through your lungs and everything else.
Okay.
And how she was in the hot car while they went to the stores and everything.
Okay, so let's go from the moment you see her, and what did you do?
I just throw my shirt down and just throw myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked.
Okay.
Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. She got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And did you call her?
Yeah, I was like, Summer, but I don't know if you can hear underwater like that.
So can you see her underwater?
No, yeah, you could see her. I could see her. It's just that I was wanting to make sure that she was okay.
Got it, straight up. And what happened?
I just pull her up, bring her over my shoulders. I say, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah."
Did she spit up water or anything?
She did spit up water.
Was she laughing?
She was just laughing. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying because after the effect of that, because it was a short period of time before they dropped me off that she said that she was missing.
Got it, straight up. So in that moment where she's in the water, how much time do you think, just a guesstimate, between the moment you saw her underwater and the moment you got her up out of the water?
At least like 4 seconds.
Okay, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what was Candus doing when Summer was under the water?
Talking to her mom.
And what was the grandma doing?
Talking back, looking for flowers.
Candus also had the opportunity to cover up an accident. The Wells' home is located in a rural area and is hidden from view by a large forest. Cell service is extremely spotty in the area because of the mountains and hollers. Candus said that she had to use Wi-Fi for her phone to work at home, making it difficult, if not impossible, for Candus's phone to ping her location. If necessary, Candus had the opportunity and enough time to drive to the garbage dumping station, dispose of evidence, and drive back home without being detected, due to the lack of cameras along the road between Summer's house and the garbage dumping station that is located 23 minutes away. When you take a look at Candus's background, she has a history of neglecting and abusing her children. At the time of her daughter's disappearance, she had an open investigation with the Department of Child Protective Services. Candus's daughter from a previous marriage said her mother was abusive and a drug user. Candus and her former partner, Andrew Simon, lost custody of their 2 children, little Andrew, who was 2 years old, and little Candus Jean, who was 6 months old, mostly due to neglect and drug use on the part of the parents. Both children were put into foster care and eventually adopted by their foster parents in 2003. Candus Wells comes from a family afflicted with intergenerational abuse and trauma. Her own mother, Candy Harrer, is not allowed to visit her other grandchildren. Candus's uncle, Warren Harrer, is a registered sex offender in the state of Wisconsin. He pleaded no contest to 8 counts of incest with a child. Warren Harrer was found guilty but not guilty due to mental disease and/or defect. He was committed to the Department of Health Services for institutional care for a maximum term of 80 years. Furthermore, Candus's cousin, Chris Marcos, is also a registered sex offender for rape of a child in 1989. Within these families, it is rationalized and normalized. The severely traumatized can pass trauma to the next generation. There is a habitual, generational, sick cycle of unnatural acts against children and family members on both sides of Summer's family. Summer's dad, Don Wells, has been accused of inappropriate contact by his younger stepsister, Jeannie. At the time of the alleged abuse, Jeannie was 5 and Don was 12. In a recorded phone call, Don blamed Jeannie for initiating the sexual contact, despite the fact that he was 7 years older than she was at the time. No court cases have been brought against Don for these allegations. Don has also been convicted of multiple violent felonies and served prison time for convictions involving drugs and burglaries in Arkansas, Utah, and Texas. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, he was cited for numerous parole violations. Don's eldest son is a convicted sex offender in Utah. His son pleaded guilty in February 2007 to sexual indecency with a child and was released from the Arkansas Department of Corrections in May 2010. With a background like this family, law enforcement needs to investigate further whether or not Summer Wells was another victim of violence or neglect on the part of an adult relative. On June 15, 2021, when Summer went missing from her home in Rogersville, Tennessee, the last person believed to have seen her was her mom, Candus. 3 years later, Summer remains missing with few leads. Anytime a child goes missing, the case should be viewed as a potential crime. The police should perform a preliminary investigation to sort out the facts of the case and try to determine if the child has left home voluntarily or involuntarily. The police should interview the individual who last had contact with the missing child. Effective questioning of this individual who last saw or spoke with the missing child is crucial in the case assessment process. While seeking information about the child's appearance, demeanor, and actions, officers should also be alert to any contradictions made or evasiveness demonstrated by the witness, especially if these statements cannot be readily corroborated. Thorough documentation will allow investigators to later compare those statements with the facts of the case as they are uncovered. Summer's mom was the last confirmed person to see her daughter before she disappeared. Candus hasn't been officially cleared of any wrongdoing and is still considered a person of interest. People in the community are confused why the investigation is making no progress. People are concerned that the person responsible for Summer's disappearance is still on the loose and could strike again. Sadly, people have lost confidence in the local law enforcement's ability to solve the case. It has been 3 years since Summer disappeared and the case has gone cold. Authorities haven't provided any updates since June 26, 2021, when TBI announced they were seeking a potential witness who was driving a red pickup truck with a full-bed ladder rack near Summer Wells' home close to the time of her disappearance. There is a large number of people in the community, as well as online sleuths, that think the investigative side of the case hasn't done enough. As time passes, new information has been brought to light, yet the investigation is at a standstill. Without any new updates, people have begun to think that they will never know what happened to Summer Wells. It would be good for a cold case unit with a fresh set of eyes to take a closer look at the case, beginning with Candus Wells' alibi, and verify whether or not her mom, Candy Harrer, corroborates her daughter's alibi. An alibi means you were somewhere else or with someone else at the time the crime allegedly occurred, typically meaning that you couldn't possibly have been the perpetrator. In the case of Summer Wells, how thoroughly has law enforcement verified where her mom, Candus, was when her daughter disappeared? According to the grandma, Law enforcement hadn't spoken to her in a long time. According to Don Wells, law enforcement hasn't spoken to him in over a year. It sounds like they haven't been following up on any of the new information that is being shared on the internet. Originally, on the 911 call, the dispatcher said that Summer's parents called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, and now they can't find her. They have been yelling for her. She has been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Tonight, the radio scanner traffic from emergency dispatchers the night Summer Wells disappeared. Take a listen.
Being around from 110, 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
However, 2 weeks later, Candus disputes that she told the 911 operator that she went for a walk, and she changed her alibi and said that she was helping her mom with a knee brace.
I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here.
Specifically, her second alibi was that she had to go over and help her mom, who was sitting at her camper 20 feet away from the house where Summer disappeared from. Candus said she had to go over and get her mom's knee brace to fix it for her because it was twisted and crap. Candus said within 2 minutes she went back to the house to check on the kids, and Summer was nowhere in sight.
And I had to go over and help Mom. She was still sitting over there. And I had to go and get her knee brace and fix it for her because it was twisted and crap.
Okay.
It took me like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a time person. Never have been.
Okay.
An alibi is simply a claim that a person was not present when a crime occurred, therefore casting reasonable doubt as to whether they committed the crime. There are 3 essential elements of an alibi defense. Number 1, the defendant was not present at the time or place of the crime. Number 2, the defendant had no reasonable opportunity to commit the crime. And number 3, the defendant could not have committed the crime by other means. A person can successfully establish an alibi defense if they can establish all 3 of these elements. For a successful alibi, the defendant's defense lawyer must show evidence, such as a store receipt or surveillance video, that the suspect was not present at the specific place of a crime and at the time the offense occurred.
An alibi is basically evidence that a defendant presents that shows that he couldn't have committed the crime because he was somewhere else when the crime occurred. Now, when we think about alibis, we usually think about witnesses, someone who comes into court and says, look, I was with Billy that night. There's no way he could have done it because he was with me the whole night. And that's certainly one type of alibi. But here at our law firm, we've, over the years, presented all sorts of evidence as alibi evidence. Sometimes we present surveillance video that shows that our client was somewhere else when the crime occurred. Sometimes we present gas receipts, credit card receipts, anything to show transactions that our client was engaged in business or was at some other location. Keep in mind, though, that with regard to witnesses, the most credible alibi witnesses are going to be people who don't have any reason to lie for you. So, for example, if you bring in your mom and your girlfriend to court and they take the stand and they testify, yes, I was with him when the crime occurred, he couldn't have committed it, that may or may not fly with the jury, because a prosecutor, of course, will get up and say, look, these people love him. They do anything to protect him. You can't believe what they're saying. But suppose, for example, that you were in class the night that the crime occurred and you bring in the teacher and you bring in fellow students, people who don't really know you, who don't have any allegiance to you, who have no reason to come to court and lie. Those obviously would be much more credible. Ultimately, however, it's for a jury to decide if they believe your alibi. And if they do believe your alibi, chances are you'll be found not guilty. But the jury certainly has the power and the discretion to reject your alibi and to find you guilty anyhow. Now, as a prosecutor, and I was a DA for 5 years and investigated many cases in which I didn't quite believe alibi witnesses that a defendant would present. And we would almost always go and re-interview those witnesses. And the defendant, for example, might say, I was with these 5 people at someone's house. And I would go with my investigators, and we would interview every one of those witnesses, and we would interview them separately and go through every detail of what happened. What did you eat? What did you talk about? What time did the person arrive? When did they leave? Who else was there? We'd go through every detail of their story, and we'd look for inconsistencies. And if we found significant inconsistencies among the witnesses, then many times we were able to shoot holes through the alibi, and it wouldn't hold up in court.
In a message, presumably from Summer's grandma, to a woman inquiring about the case, Candy Harrer reiterates the story that her daughter Candus gave, but noticeably there's no mention of a knee brace. The knee brace is a major part of Candus's alibi. A knee brace is nowhere to be seen in any of the photos of the grandma. People are wondering if authorities located the knee brace and corroborated with Grandma Candy's doctors that she was expected to wear a knee brace after her hospital visit on the day of Summer's disappearance. The investigation into what happened to Summer Wells remains open, and her mom, Candus, has never been cleared of any wrongdoing. It is very possible that Candus had something to do with her daughter's disappearance. There are many signs that Candus was involved or has knowledge of what happened to Summer. One of the signs is that Candus changed her alibi and has provided conflicting information in regards to her missing daughter.
I understand people's curiosity about where we're at in the case as far as investigation. I know people speculate, and I understand that. But they have to understand our number one goal from day one is to find Summer. And everybody's still a suspect, person of interest, however you want to put it. And we're still very intensely looking into it.
Candus has provided 2 different alibis. Originally, she told the 911 operator that she had gone for a walk, and by the time she returned home, her daughter had disappeared. This type of alibi is difficult to prove without an eyewitness to corroborate her story. 2 weeks later, during her first on-camera interview, Candus told the news reporter that she hadn't gone for a walk. Instead, she said that she had gone over to her mom's camper to help her with a knee brace, and when she returned home, 2 minutes later, her daughter Summer was missing.
I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here.
With her second alibi, Candus has her mom as an eyewitness to corroborate her location. However, using a family member for an eyewitness is considered weak because family members have motivation to protect each other. Generally, when someone uses an alibi as a defense, they have at least one, and preferably several, witnesses who are prepared to testify that they were somewhere else when the crime was committed. The success of an alibi defense often hinges on the credibility of the witnesses. If the only witness is a spouse or parent, for example, the alibi defense is weak because those people are more likely to lie for them. On the other hand, if a suspect can present 10 strangers who saw them in a restaurant at the time in question, they have a strong alibi witness. The alibi that Candus maintains is that she was helping her mom with a knee brace for only 2 minutes when her daughter Summer disappeared. To what degree has police checked Candus's alibi for the day of her daughter's disappearance? Candus's mom also has a missing daughter and a history of neglect. Grandma Candy's daughter went missing in August 2009. Rosemarie Bly was the youngest daughter of Grandma Candy and Jim Bly. Rose Bly was married with 2 daughters under the age of 2. There is little physical evidence in this case. Rose Bly's car was found 5 days after her disappearance, and fingerprints and DNA were taken from the vehicle. All of the fingerprints came back as being from Rose or immediate family members. There is some unidentified DNA that has been run through CODIS several times with no match as of 2022. For a family to have 2 missing person cases that happen 12 years apart from each other is a rare occurrence. Authorities have stated they don't believe the cases are connected. They did happen in separate states, and there is nothing to lead anyone to believe that they have anything to do with each other. Summer's mother, Candus, is the sister of Rose, Rose has been missing for over a decade. Summer has been missing for 3 years, making her the second person in the family to disappear without a trace. The problem with the Summer Wells case is the last 2 adults to be with Summer at the time of her disappearance have reasons to lie, and they have no one else to support the claim it was an abduction and not an accident or homicide. The problem is that investigators didn't collect much evidence. It also seems that investigators didn't do much to follow up on the information being shared on social media.
She walked in there, and there's a scaffolding that we have for steps, the yellow and black scaffolding we have for steps. And I put my hand on the scaffold. I said, boys, watch Summer. I'll be right back. And I had to go over and help Mom. She was still sitting over there. And I had to go and get her knee brace and fix it for her because it was twisted and crap.
Okay.
It took me like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a time person. Never have been.
Okay.
And next thing I know, I said, Mom, I'm going back over with the kids, chill and hang out, whatever. And I freaking asked her brothers, well, where'd your sister go? She was just right here with you. But she wanted to go play with her toys downstairs, Mom. I said, I think none of them, because that's where our room is. That's where her toys are.
Okay.
And after about a second, I didn't hear nothing down there. I was like, you sure she went downstairs? They're like, yeah, Mom, she went downstairs.
Okay.
And my boys do not lie to me. So I went around because my stairs, my husband calls it a bar, but it's not really a bar. I call it a mess. We built it over the staircase. I guess you could call it a bar, but it's not really a bar because we don't drink that much. So, but it was like where we put our TV stand and stuff like that. And I walked around because that's where the steps are hidden up underneath there. And I said, Summer. And she didn't answer me. I said, Summer, are you down there? And she didn't answer me. So I ran down the stairs pretty much. I was freaking out. I was like, why is she not answering me? And I looked I blew up. I went everywhere looking for her. So I couldn't find her nowhere.
Okay. And then what happened?
She was just gone.
Okay.
She was just gone into nowhere.
You had mentioned earlier that Candus had switched up her stories a little bit. Do you have a particular example that you could share?
She told me the night that Summer went missing that they were on the site. She said that her mom and Summer were on the side of the house planting flowers. Then they went into her mom's camper to wash their hands, and Summer wanted a piece of candy. Her mom gave her a piece of candy. Then she walked out of the camper, and she wanted to go inside and play with the boys. So Candus watched her walk out of the camper and go into the house. She then turned around and went back into the camper and fixed her mom's leg. Then she went back over to the house to check on the kids. She asked the boys where Summer was. They said, I don't know. Maybe she's downstairs playing with her toys. She said she went downstairs and she checked downstairs, was calling for Summer, and there was no answer. I asked her if the door was locked and shut, and she said yes. And then now she's going around telling everyone different versions of the story.
Yeah, I believe she said it was unlocked, wasn't it?
There's those fireworks again. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I recall Don is actually the one who said that the door was unlocked. Mm-hmm. He does not say that it was open or ajar. He says that it was unlocked.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the same story for the most part besides the door. So I'm wondering if there's and I don't want to make an excuse for anything, but I'm wondering if there's a possibility that the door was locked and then it was unlocked by the time Dawn got there. I don't know. That's kind of that's an interesting one time-wise. Mm-hmm. That they would both have something different to say.
It makes no sense. The only thing that can come to my mind is that somebody snuck up there in that yard and took my baby girl.
What are the odds of that?
What are the odds of that?
From your perspective.
It happens all the time, all the way around the world.
I'm not questioning that it happens. I'm just asking you from your perspective, in your property, living up there as long as you have, Candus, right? What are the odds that that happened? Take a guess.
50-50.
Okay. What would be the 50% that it didn't happen? What are the other possibilities?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could she have walked away and fallen?
Knowing my daughter?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I just know that they have to have done something because she did not walk off of that property. That's all I know. Twisty. T.
Really?
Well, you were at work.
Come on! Don't break the fucking door. Open it then. You dumb bitch. Oh, you're gonna call me a dumb bitch? You break my fucking door? Yeah, fuck you. You dumb motherfucker. You're fucking whore.
No, he
I
said
have
he had
7 alibis. I have 7 alibis. Candus ain't got none. She's going down.
You were at work, right?
Yep. Yep.
And they've always said you were at work.
Yep.
And then
Plus I have a good friend named Starlink. My buddy named Starlink. And yeah, Starlink.
Now, Don, I've heard the story from other people, but I would love to hear from you, like what actually happened that day. Because I've only heard it from like Chris McDouche and a couple of other people, but I would love to hear
If you don't
from
break
you
the door,
what
please.
happened that day.
Please don't break the door. Please don't break the door.
I asked you a question.
What?
And you asked, okay, Starling.
I was talking to her. What?
Stop lying.
She asked me, what? What is your question? What? I'm listening. Come on, man. What?
My back real itches. I asked you scratching.
I'm supposed to show your ass live on I'm live. Stop it. It's fucking live, you dumbass.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Can't stop.
Okay, whatever. Play your little game, Donnie.
All right, I'm gonna have to go. She don't think we're live and shit, okay? And she's fucking going off and acting like an alcoholic. I have to get off here now.
That's fine. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Don, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Okay.
Candus.
Let's go
Thank
through
you.
this later.
That is fucking live, you dumb bitch. You are stupid, man.
I was just scratching my back. That's all I asked.
Fucking live, you fucking stupid bitch.
Oh, they just seen that. You're a dumbass. They just seen you punch me in my throat.
Whatever, man.
You're a dumbass. You're a real dumbass. You got a real dumb fucking ass. They just seen me throw me in the punch. You're a dumbass. Yeah. You're a real dumb fuck.
In conclusion, Summer's mom remains a suspect in the disappearance of her daughter. Candus has not been cleared of wrongdoing by the officials. She has changed her alibi, and the one person who can vouch for her is her very own mother. Candus said her daughter, Summer, was abducted while she was fixing her mother's knee brace for 2 minutes. Having a family member for an alibi is weak by legal standards. saying that her daughter was abducted within a 2-minute time frame from their rural home is difficult to accept. Besides that, when Grandma was asked to recall the events of the day that Summer went missing, she said nothing about Candus fixing her knee brace. Officials have said the reason no one has been arrested is due to the lack of evidence, and no credible leads have been reported. If only the officials would listen to the online sleuths, more evidence has been uncovered, and that evidence points directly at Candus Wells.
Candus and I got up that morning. She came out and took me into the ER because my leg was messing up on me, and we were afraid something was wrong with my knee. I have a knee replacement, and she was worried that there was something wrong with it. And she took me into the hospital, and I ended up getting a shot for it to get rid of the pain. And they prescribed me medication to take to get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was. And then we come back, and I went in my camper, and after we brought my groceries in for me, and the boys helped with that, and of course Summer. And I laid down and went to sleep, and I got up, and I was sitting in my doorway, and we come out, and Candus asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And we did that, and then Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite. And then she went in. She said, Mama, I want to go play with the boys. Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
After all, professional investigators are taught to always assume that physical evidence is left behind at every scene. So if they haven't found any evidence of an abduction or evidence that Summer wandered away, they need to look at the other physical evidence that suggests Summer suffered from a fatal accident and her mom covered it up. The possibility that Candus committed negligent homicide needs to be pursued or ruled out before this case goes unsolved. Summer Wells deserves justice.